Sona's interesting.
Yeah.
As a champion. A lot of the tweaks around her since the last time she's been a competitive play have been obviously to make her super brittle, but her Q does like unbelievable amounts of harass damage. They've changed it a few times, but like it really hurts in lane. And again, if she can flash ult and then backline W the whole time and Q with the auras and the fact that it gives everyone like on-hit modifier, she can be very powerful.
Also, I was laughing because everybody was like, "Oh my God, Afro had 100% kill participation." I was like,
Ah, yes. The Sona kill participation.
it's like so easy to get. I mean, he not to take anything away from Afro. He's been having a great tournament. He's a great player, but it's not that hard to get 100% kill participation as Soda when you're giving everybody buffs all the time.
I just remember when Twisted Fate was like one of the times Twisted Fate was OP. I think it was actually before the time he was permabanned in Korea. One of the reasons was that he like got bonus gold from his passive, and also his ult reveal gave assists. Yep. So he had 100% kill participation every game. Twisted Fate. You know who we're going to see in the final? Faker's Twisted Fate.
Probably.
Against Azir. They're going to leave up Azir one time.
I don't think that CLG will pick Azir against Faker.
I think they will.
Really?
Do you think that Stixxay has an extended champion pool? Because he plays Azir. Like, sure, he's not fantastic at it, but he plays it. Like, what else does he play?
But they also know that Faker will pick the Fizz into the Azir.
Sure.
They also have to be concerned that, like you said, he would pick Twisted Fate. They also be
on blue side, you could maybe ban Fizz, I guess.
They also have to be concerned that the Korean Jarvan pick is going to come through. Like, Faker hasn't done it, but it doesn't mean that he won't do it.
He's more of an Aurelia. Oh, an Olaf.
I don't know, man. It's Faker. He can always come in with some wacky shit, and we've seen it be effective and win games against Azir before because basically how it works, guys, is Azir ults and then Assassin Jarvan mid lane ults over the wall, jumps over the wall, and then dumpsters him. So if you ever use any of Azir's movement abilities, you can't get out unless you have flash of his Cataclysm, and he just absolutely wrecks Azir.
And the buff was actually really big. Like, the reason why we all knew it was going to be mid lane Jarvan, not jungle Jarvan, is like guaranteed physical damage in the AoE. Because before you could there was weird interactions with flash, and you had to choose just the right target. And because it's like a 1.5 AD ratio, it's massive scaling on that ability. The guaranteed damage in an AoE with like a Tiamat proc or something is like
ridiculous,
huge.
And you don't have to build him as glass cannon as you did before either. You can
do anyway.
But you do anyway. So
yes, Cataclysm does go over Azir as well.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why people were picking it.
Sasson, who's now a coach.
Kuro picked it too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Kuro did. Kuro won a game with it.
I don't believe it's lost a game. I think it's 3-0. Maybe it's 2-0.
Yeah, it was definitely a counterpick though that happened and was effective. So let's talk about this draft though. They go back to the Rise instead of the Echo first pick here after losing that game.
Well, because they're going to get the Echo anyway, which is very clear. It's two times in a row they've, again, passed over Echo on the red side. Because it was Echo in the second round, Echo first pick, Echo in the second round.
Yep. And then the Poppy comes through again. They take the Kindred. They take the Azir counterpick, I guess, early. Why do you think they take Azir so early? Are they afraid that if they don't take Azir, Rise will be flexed up into the top side, and then they will not have an Azir in their second round of the draft?
Well, let's assume in that world that happens.
Why would you not take, for example, why would you not take Echo Kindred in the first round of the draft on the red side here?
Well, let's just think about your theory. Let's assume, it's Darshan, carry top.
Yeah, definitely
you can think of it. But what would Maple play? Because, LeBlanc is banned on blue side.
GP?
Against Rise? I can understand it.
You can kite Rise super well with Gangplank, and you can escape. You can use your remove Scurvy to get rid of the Rune Prison and run away.
I think so much of Flash Wolf's power has been with pressure that GP, again, is not...
That's fair.
Is no pressure.
But I'm just saying they dropped the GP ban, so that is definitely a possibility here. And they can actually just wait till last pick for mid. So I think that the
last pick ends up being...
But I'm just saying, I think you're right. I think the answer must be that they are afraid of CLG taking both Azir and Ryze.
I mean, obviously that was not good for Looper, but Darshan's a slightly different type of top laner. Looper's much better on TP tanks than he is on carries. His Akali game at Worlds 2014 accepted. Ezreal Sona as a completed bot lane when you only see Karma is very interesting. So remember, it's a last big Sivir here, Monty. So they see Karma, they know it's a Karma support. They choose Ezreal Sona as a full bot lane as an answer.
Yeah. Also, just to point out that he would be against Azir versus with GP, which is a bad matchup.
True.
So that's more understandable, I suppose, but Maple's champion pool definitely goes deeper than that. I'm not as familiar with Maple as a player, but
you can't Zed into Ryze.
Azir.
I'm saying, yeah, okay. Sure, you can't Zed into. You can Zed into Azir for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And Maple does play a lot of Zed.
It is intriguing because like, Maple does have a good champion pool, like you say.
So I'm not exactly sure why this draft happens. I would have thought they would have had something prepared for the Azir that would work. I mean, Maple, again, we've seen Faker successfully play Fizz into the Azir.
Sure.
We know that certain counter picks exist. So it's just whether Maple is comfortable on these picks or not. And I just don't see the Azir first round, if they're going to first round draft Ryze, as necessarily the option, but perhaps Flash Wolves feels limited in Maple's champion pool and they don't want to give up both of those champions. That's the only thing I can think of. Because otherwise, taking the Echo seems to make more sense. But we're kind of nitpicking at this point. The Karma Sivir double speed boost is absolutely insane for the engage.
I actually really like the draft from
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Flash Wolves. Not to say there's anything wrong with the draft from CLG. The big unknown factor is Sona, just because we've seen so little Sona.
What I don't like about this, Papa, is that, again, it forces... This is a composition that forces an engage on a flash crescendo. So you must play around Sona's flash in this game.
I mean, they do have a lot of pseudo frontliners.
Yeah,
right?
but you're going to get kited. You have Karma Sivir speed.
Sure.
And you have Azir ultimate to kite. So I don't care if you could sort of get in there with... Like, if you have a big front line, because you're going to get poked. And your back line's going to get hit by the Sivir crits. So, on Ricochet. So I'm not really a fan.
Sure. Okay. It's valid.
And I think if Flash Wolves does a good job of keeping track of Aphromu's ult and flash cooldowns...
They take Varus, not Sivir.
Oh, they do take Varus, that's right. They should have taken Sivir here, 100%.
The Varus is
terrible.
really terrible.
That's right. Sorry, guys. We didn't go to the end. I remember the Varus pick this game. Yep.
Oh, dear.
So they do take the Varus in the end, and I don't get the Varus here.
But the funny thing is that, like, Sona's great against Varus. Because he's an easy champion to flash on, just like Jhin is. It's like if he was Jhin. To me, Varus is a poor man's Jhin in the AD carry role. At Varus mid, sure, because you hit your cheap item power spikes early. You get Mana Moon, you get more Malmortius, which obviously builds super well, and you get, like, with a level advantage, you do so much damage. But when you go that same build from the AD carry role, and
he also goes Ghostblade first.
He goes a really crazy build. And, like, on the one hand, you can be like, oh, I have consistent damage from my mid laner, so it's okay to have kind of poke damage from AD, but especially when it's picked into this comp.
I don't know. I look at this composition, and I say, okay, maybe it's, like, kind of sucks to have Sivir Karma against the poke of Ezreal Sona, because you're just constantly getting chunked down.
And, like, Varus theoretically could be a screen away, right? From everyone on the side of...
Yeah, but I think that if you have Karma Sivir speed here, and you're capable of kiting, you will have a very successful time with this composition.
I mean, you could argue that Karma Sivir gets a lot of diminishing returns because you just have you hit the movement speed cap so much, and Sivir that Karma by herself.
Yeah, it is worth noting too that NL has played a lot of Varus AD carry in the past. He's played a lot of it, so it is a comfort pick for him.
But what does Varus do when either, like, literally anyone that can run at people on the side of CLG zones Varus out of doing anything?
There is, I think, an advantage to taking Varus against Ryze.
With the ult?
Yes.
I mean...
But I would still say Sivir is better.
You could also flash the ult, obviously.
Sure.
if you get rooted, you're dead anyway. And like Echo especially can just phase dive past and zone you out of a fight. You would do 0 damage because kiting back, Varus does almost no damage because he can't charge his Q.
Yep. I agree. I think it's bad. I think Silver's way better.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Everybody copying North America. Now we're one-upping the ante here, huh? How far do you want to follow us?
Barry wants to troll you, wants to know if you can turn on text-to-speech so he can write you a lovely message and give you $10.
No.
No.
Well, so anyone finds about skill shots-
We don't want Barry's money. Let's go, CLG Gaming, says Rick Fox.
Wow. Substantive addition to the broadcast right there.
But he's the guy from the NBA.
Damn. I love Rick Fox, by the way. I think he's a great guy, but I don't like. Look, I've been the noted hater of on like these tweets on broadcast because I don't think they add anything to the broadcast whatsoever, and it's oftentimes it's like this player said this.
Sometimes it's like a cool color point, though, right? Like sometimes it is like Hotshot's tweet, right?
Yeah, but
This one, I agree, is a very
most of them are like this. Anyway, it's neither here nor there.
I mean, to be fair, wrestling. Cause I watch a bit of wrestling. Wrestling is worth because I'll be like, this is trending on Twitter, and it's like, exactly.
I hate all that shit. The plebs don't get a voice. They shouldn't get a voice in the broadcast.
But Rick Fox isn't a pleb.
It's true.
Let's be clear.
I'm sorry, Rick Fox. I didn't mean to call you a pleb.
You did imply that actually. Your former fellow owner.
I mean, I also don't like the segments that they do where it's like, tweet at us about this, and then they have to like read it on the analyst desk. I'm like great use of time.
Outpoke the Sona sustain is actually huge because Sona gets both the offensive and defensive face rolling abilities. But everybody
All
else
right.
is gonna have to land.
Okay, we're gonna look at DJ Sona, I guess.
Would you prefer if they like took out the scoreboard and told you how much DJ Sona cost in the shop? If you're gonna full screen it, why not go all in and be like, click this link?
Oh god, so bad. So early wards in just by the Krug, seeing if CLG is going to go for them. CLG.
Flash was rushed lane, by the way.
Yep. But you have to expect that because CLG does so many level 1 invades right now for revision. And they're going to go in for it, and they decide not to. So we are going to end up in standard lanes. This is the game where Flash Wolves does super well early, and CLG kind of drops the ball. I mean, that damage.
I like how Aframo takes half his health from an auto attack and ability.
I like how you go hail of arrows, and then you keep shooting karma Qs, so you just slow them forever and continue to hit them at level 1. So there's clearly something the Flash Wolves have prepared. So this is a pretty interesting setup right at level 1, and CLG obviously has a lot of issues, but the Sona sustain once you hit level 2 is going to be really good. So there's going to be many fewer issues in the laning phase as it continues.
You do run into pretty significant mana problems if you try to sustain a lot, though, as Sona, so I'd actually be interested to see. I should probably check the rune page to see if it's like health regen a la Soraka page, or just heavy mana regen to sustain up your ally.
And look at the pathing here, too. Yeah, we can check that out. But look at the pathing here, too, from Kindred. So Kindred is going to not go for that first stack on the crab and just do a full clear of the bottom side and then gank, because this is how Echo plays against Poppy in the early laning phase, is by pushing up with the Time Winder, and Darshan is totally
flash
caught.
right now. You need to flash. You need to have already flashed.
Yeah, and he's just dead.
Yeah. He needs to flash instantly.
Just came to my mind.
I didn't turn off
Players
text-to-speech.
usually get their own room with their own PC installed in the room. If not, do they occasionally suffer from murderous rage and frustration?
Thanks, Mike Hawk.
Yes, Mike Hawk.
Yes.
Get their own room with their PC installed in the...
So Mike Hawk, for some reason, seems very preoccupied
with player self
gratification.
gratification.
What was his name again?
Mike Hawk.
Yeah, Mike Hawk.
I can say it better. I can say Mike Hawk.
Yeah, I don't have that accent. I actually have to say it the bad way. They usually have a laptop or their own
A
desktop
phone.
or a phone in their own
Headphones.
room. So there you go.
From the mid lane, and Flash Wolves off to a huge start.
Turn it off now.
Yes, I turned it off.
In
now.
before Barry gets in there.
Bad luck Barry when he doesn't get text to speech.
Match the lanes up to do it, and Karza comes out early in the top lane. Both teleports now down for CLG.
Spotlight on Karsa early on.
So early TPUs, flash down, and now this map is really Karsa's playground. That poke early on is brutal. Who he nearly eats it off the Thunderlord proc. Super zoned out, level behind. Xmithy is taking away the crab because there was a gang top lane, so he knows it's safe to take away the first.
He also has no lane to
Kindred
gank
stack.
till level 6 bottom.
Well, he can't gank mid lane either because
That's what I'm saying. He can literally only gank bottom after level 6.
Maple doesn't care.
Should just be some quick sweet feet here from Maple. Shuffles over the wall, taking a bit of damage. Xmithy, though, relieving that.
He already got the advantage. Now they're going to poke down because they know exactly where the jungler is, and they still know exactly where the jungler is.
Back to lane and just try.
Kindred goes in, and some more good early pink wards here from Karsa. Like, Karsa had the faster recall in this game after the gank, after picking up the kill, buys the refillable potion, buys the green... First off, I am very intrigued that Karsa goes green smite on Kindred in this game. But, to his credit, his vision control was very good in the last game.
I was going to say, like, I still think it's wrong 100% of the time. But you can follow the logic, but again,
I'm not a fan.
no. Is it wrong that I want Xmithy to go red smite on Graves now just to troll me? That was a really good parallel convergence.
Yeah.
That's
And
what we spent.
this is also inexcusable from MMD. There was a ping onto the Graves right there. He's going to go ahead and check.
He
Ward
wards
his
his-
tri-brush,
yeah.
but you have to respect this. And you know the Scuttle Crab is up. He could easily do Scuttle Crab and come top lane. So this is just a mistake by MMD coming in for the pressure.
The heal just isn't quite there yet anymore. It used to be pretty broken, where it was both winning offense and in defense. So they are definitely on the back foot here. Against super.
So MMD pretty much just walks into that one when they had knowledge of approximately where the jungler could be.
That's why I spent so much time talking about the lack of parallel convergence in game 1, I think. Because, like, Darshan's been super good at it.
Yep.
It's wraparound time. It is Kindred, so definitely dead.
Yep. Stixay really doesn't want to be there. Well, how did he get the double?
So the kill was obvious. What happened to Stixay? Oh, he had the E back up already, wow. I'm surprised the E cooldown was that short. Did he have blue buffs? He had blue buff and maybe CDR runes to get
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. Wow. Well, at this point of the game, CLG really doesn't have any business being in this one anymore.
No, this game's over.
Also, it is... We didn't talk about this, Papa Smithy, but because we were talking, and Saint was talking a lot about the Azir... Yes, about the Soraka. But about the Azir Caitlyn. Varus functions in a very similar way to Caitlyn in a lot of these compositions, where Varus needs to be in the mid lane to actually siege effectively, because if you try and walk down a long lane with a Varus, you're just basically... It's like even worse than Caitlyn, because you don't have traps, you don't have the 90 caliber net. If you miss your ultimate, you're just basically screwed. And so, what is the plan here for Flash Wolves when they change lane assignments with the Azir? There's not a good option for lane assignments for them.
I think you just start taking teleport and Azir. If you could take teleport on LeBlanc, why don't you take teleport and Azir? Like, I follow the reason why, like, obviously...
I think against Ryze, you have to take double exhaust.
It's just... But then you just can't pick the Varus. Like...
Well, I agree. We talked about Sivir. Sivir's a lot safer because you can always spell shield and ult your way out of a lane if you overextend.
You know, and people will be like, well, they lose this game, lol, why can you say the game's over? Like, this game should be over.
Yes. Alright, this is an enormous advantage. And especially the worst part about it for CLG is that Kindred has all 3 kills. Like, that's just brutal. The speed at which this Kindred is going to get Devour and just ruin your day is just light speed. Light speed coming through.
What's wrong, Susie?
I can't step over the stupid
And he has been a question this tournament.
You're stuck.
Sorry, guys.
Maple and Carso, when did these two
Grill?
work together? And actually, right now, Carso's going off on his own. So when he does get
So I just don't know what they're thinking here with this composition,
that's true.
Earning himself a nice CS lead versus
given what we were already talking about with Caitlyn Azir, and I completely agree with it. But the role of Caitlyn, the role of Azir is, or role of Varus is still going to be in the mid lane and the mid game.
forcing him back to base.
And they're almost baiting in more there. They're saying, you know, keep pushing out Maple. I'll be here if Xmithie comes. If they try to give Huki more breathing room. But head back towards top side. The pink wards are
Pink
already
ward
in place,
stock.
So the pressure's there.
Not level 6 yet as Poppy, but pulls the minion wave really well. MMD's good.
Yeah.
He's got that. He's
Good
got
player.
That top laner sense. He knows that there's a very dangerous Kindred on the map.
Now he does.
Well,
What's he
He's
gonna
dead.
Level 6. He doesn't want to go back the other way.
By the way, I've never seen Poppy get 2 kills that consistently with
very
an
sur- 'cause,
ultimate.
but you know what the interesting interaction here is? Like, do you remember that the most requested fan thing was that Lee Sin's kick still knocked people up when if you kick someone to death? Because the thing is, if you kick someone to death, they just die.
Yeah.
They don't fly in the air. It's interesting that you do fly in the air with Poppy's ult. Now, of course, it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
create CC, but it's just
Yeah, it's
an
funny.
interesting visual. Because literally, if you kick someone to death, they just like death
Yeah.
animation plays.
Yeah.
Whereas Poppy does knock them in the air.
Your corpse just rides the hammer.
Yeah.
You actually set yourself behind.
I don't know why I said yeah about that. That doesn't sound
Because
good at all.
Ride the Hammer sounds like a really good heavy metal band.
But a corpse riding the hammer. doesn't
Yeah,
sound-
Corpse Ride the Hammer sounds like a great death metal band.
Goes in.
Also, I don't know what.
The game where
This is the weirdest play from CLG. Alright, so remember, NL's flash is down, but they are teleporting. There's a pink board there, so they have plenty of advanced. Oh,
and that's the dying after hesitation is even worse. Worse feeling for a top laner right
I mean, they were down the lane, but
level 6 power
then they.
Darshan is dead, so they can't actually double TP,
It doesn't have teleport anyway.
and he doesn't have TP anyway.
I mean, he'll have it soon.
Aphromu, if Aphromu was level 6 and had flash, I understand this
Maybe
play.
he was a creep or two away.
NL and sort of awaiting.
Although probably not. You'd think Stixay and NL would be experience ahead of Afro.
He also needs flash, and that's not a creep or 2 away.
Farming in the jungle after the enemy jungler shows, but
I mean, I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
That was just a horrible teleport.
and Smithy's on 500 from that mid Azir gank. It's just the jungle can't.
To recount, 3-0 Kindred and the Rise donated his teleport.
Such an early lead. It becomes very.
They lost their first donatable blue buff as well.
Those numbers advantage plays to turn it
Hmm.
around at this point.
Because MMD, his confidence was questioned after game 1, but he's made some sick execute plays.
I've been convinced by Varus AD carry
Knock you away and
a
save
grand
you.
total of 1 time, and it was
Or
death.
just finish you off with the hammer, so
With his Trinity Force Varus years ago.
amount of damage right there. For the second time already in the series.
And it's probably not something he's going to have to worry about.
I'm not a fan.
Hitting. That Poppy is
I'll say
most
that.
likely going to
As a side point, did you hear the sad news about Sancho leaving EDG?
66 to 61.
The general manager guy who wrote the like famous porn like Me Boom story and everything.
What happened to him?
He went to Royal. He was managing director of EDG, and now he's going to Royal.
Oh, snap. Just jumping ship onto the better team.
Can you imagine his like creative journal entries about Mata?
I was
That'll be
gonna say
amazing.
more fan fiction from Royal now.
By the way, guys, there's definitely an amount of fiction to his stories,
Yeah.
especially the porn story about
Especially the pawn
from
story.
coming
about
from the hospital to
Not
save them.
Porn, it's Pawn, the player, guys. I apologize.
I mean, I didn't
for-
read his journal entries about porn, so it's
I
probably the
apologize
porn
for
story.
Papa's accent here.
We see a little siege here.
Pawn.
My cock.
In your end.
The level 6 all in.
So this is pretty much a disaster now for CLG.
So I didn't see this game, so I don't know where it all goes wrong.
To test that, right?
Oh, whoa.
This is the game where
You will be surprised.
I'm ready.
Pop Spivvy.
Carson, good flash there.
And there, Maple pulling a Hookie. But he got a flash, so it was actually way better.
I mean, no,
Traded
that
his
was actually
summers.
perfect mechanics, and he didn't flash himself. So.
Yep.
He would have had the long walk back to mid.
See, whenever I see that, I wonder if the ultimate outplay is by Maple just predicting the
And also, it does put a lot of pressure around the Dragon right now, too, because bottom was pushed out. They get the Rise Flash, they're going to go get the blue buff.
It's double blue buff to Azir.
Yep.
They've got so much in hand right now. Oh, God.
Darshan, feeling he could make it out. He's right in that situation, but takes a lot
Yes, the
more
pawn
damage
story
to
about Mike
be
Cock.
able to much heroes.
A narrative for the ages.
Yeah, the best thing also for Flash Wolves and Carson getting the early kills is that Kindred is such an easy champion to snowball on. Because you can snowball in so many ways. You can visit the lanes, pressure turrets, get down turrets easier, open up...
They should have taken a dragon by now.
Yes, they absolutely should have, but they chose to kind of stick around and recall instead.
I mean, the moment they're back in lanes, Kindred Soul is it.
Yeah,
Easy peasy.
very true.
Thank you for the donation. We'll get to it later.
Great Broncos question. I like that one. We'll get to that one.
Kindred just has so many options if you get a lead like this early on.
Yeah, and Carson's really smart choices with where to gank have made it so that Flash was right marks.
Just at that mark, we saw Darshan getting pushed out. He chrono breaks back to lane, pushes all the way up. Now MMD is clearing it, so that's
So they're back exactly in the same position they were in before. Oh, that was super good dodge.
Oh, man. That was so good. I mean, it doesn't matter in the end, I guess. Oh, I haven't seen this fight, so I don't know.
Lamb's respite goes down. Maple's
That was really well done by Flash Wolves.
the huge initiation from Counterlogic Gaming.
Ooh, they burned the TP. They burned both summoners from Aframu, and now they can just go straight onto this dragon.
That was sexy, man. That was sexy.
The best thing about that was Maple didn't even have to flash.
He WE'd a flash out of... Was he in vision, Sona, at any point? I mean, we'll probably see a replay, right?
Well, we'll make our own replay,
So where's
Papa Smithy, with
Sona at
blackjack and hookers.
Sona's in vision...
It was lost on me.
No, I know the Blackjack and
Awful.
Hookers reference. I was just actually really interested to see about the vision.
So there isn't any vision. There isn't any vision. Maple
He
goes,
walks on... He's in ward vision when he, like...
when he leaves the brush.
He's in vision when he
Nope.
goes for the flash. Not
Yeah.
right now, but he is now.
Right now, yeah.
So that's why he's like, oh,
So
God.
Maple put those Sand Soldier down there immediately after seeing.
He's stunned, importantly.
Yes, and he does get W'd right afterwards.
It was still a cool play.
It was still creative to,
If he didn't do that, he was dead.
yeah, or flash. But he doesn't flash. He saves his flash, and he doesn't have his Azir ult up yet either, so he can't do much else.
Him living there is pretty outrageous, but of course Kindred ult.
Maple's alive, and they have just juked a huge initiation from Counterlogic Gaming and are able to waltz right out to safety.
Well, it's also ridiculous that they can actually get Dragon off his play too, because Stixay isn't there in the lane. They have the bottom pushed up, and the Azir could just walk straight back in. Remember, he still has flash and ult up, so there's not a lot of kill pressure on
Varus
him.
has ult as well, so he can just saunter around as well.
So Maple just wanders back into lane, pops a potion, and
So the
feels
reason
perfectly
why,
safe.
even when I see the Varus, I'm surprised they lose, is that if you ever try and contest... They should have complete control over objectives, right? Dragon in particular.
Yep.
Given how the other game... And if you ever walk up to this Flash Wolves team between Poppy, Azir, and Varus, and then Karma poke, like, you should never get near anything. Like, they have so much counter-engage. Engage is possible, but hard, but, like, the Varus...
And based around flash from Aframu, and then they cancel another TP there from Hui.
Nobody was there. It was a little bit...
They had no... By the way, this is another terrible TP from CLG. What is this going to accomplish? You have 3 people right here already in the lane. You have the ult from NL, so he can just hit you right as you land from the TP,
Yeah.
because Hui doesn't have flash to flash immediately from the Chain of Corruption. So he would just die right there, basically. You also don't have ults from either Stixay or, more importantly, Aframu. So what are you going to do? You can't do anything.
We can also return to a talk of Rise timings. Rise doesn't have a blasting wand yet, let alone a
it's
Rod of
tier
Ages at
catalyst.
12 minutes.
No, the proper play here is for Darshan to take the top side, which I agree with. I think this is a good play. Darshan just fades back into the top to at least trade a turret for the dragon.
But again, we mentioned 11 to 13 minutes for Rod, and he only has Catalyst.
Yep.
It's not over though.
Big problem.
If they group up and they get like a multi-man crescendo,
Again, game's looking good for Flash Wolves. They're going to win this one, right?
You'd think, wouldn't you, Papa Smithy? You'd think. And especially because they take the mid lane turret right here.
Sometimes at MSI, I've tried not to think.
It's been better for your mind, I think, in the long run, not to think about this tournament for a lot of it.
SKT lost 4 games in a row.
Yeah, they didn't play well either.
Nope.
Open up the map for more forward wards. And we've already seen Maple in the spot where Xmithia is right now. They are not afraid to put themselves in dangerous positions. Here going on Huki, getting the Thunderlord's proc, and the team's always behind him. Having this karma has allowed Sword Art to be everywhere for his team.
Yeah, Sword Art plus NL brings so much mid-game hope on the Varus Karma combo that...
So yet another objective. So they trade evenly in terms of turret, but they get both Herald and Dragon. They're completely dominating this game. Ezreal cannot push in this Varus right now.
Nope.
So they're still able to hold out. But again, it's when the lanest reassignments are going to come through that it's going to cause a lot of trouble. NL has a large chance to be caught out against double TP against
so what
CLG.
do you do? So you got this comp, you've pushed all the easy objectives. How do you get over that obvious problem?
You have to ward for NL. Like, basically, Karsa has to hug NL's side of the map, make sure that they're constantly clearing vision for him, so we can at least farm up to River, and then you control Dragon for the rest of the game. That's how I think you win.
The way I think of it is that if Maple pushes up the Rise, which he should be able to, and honestly the jungle Shadows takes every camp as NL, when NL pushes up to Wolves, takes Wolves, and you just push with the team and take inner turret bottom, right?
Yes.
That to me is what you do, and it seems like that's what they're doing right now.
Well, I need to take the tier 1 first.
Kindred's contesting the Graves, they've got pressure bottom.
Yep.
NL has no mana.
But we're not to the mid game yet. I'm saying when you start to get to 30 minutes and you start threatening Dragon 4 or 4 or 5, that's when you want to just play very cautiously. Just make sure you have enough wards into enemy tri-brush here so that NL can continue farming and you still get some form of a play.
Now this is a better time to teleport.
Yeah, I like how Karsa takes the turret though. That's a really good heads up play.
I mean, he has to give up a long cooldown, but it's worth it because otherwise they have to rotate around here again later.
But this is the play that should have happened before. But notice the difference is Aphromu actually has his ultimate during this play, and they push up way too far. Karsa is way too close to that turret.
There's just no respect for... Aphro doesn't even have flash. I think he just gets flash back.
They just walk into crescendo.
They want me to point out that Sword Art does not have Sightstone. Sword Art finished this port item.
Oh, he finished Frostwing's claim first, that's right.
Oh, he went actual Frost Queen, so pure poke build. Pick M poke because he's got the spooky ghost, I guess. Good catch. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I noticed that during the game. I just forgot about it.
Sure.
It does give them information, though, for pushing up when NL and Sword Art are alone. So I don't...
They do have Tracker's Knife.
Karsa, yeah, Tracker's Knife Kindred, too. So they do have more war... Or, probably about this... Slightly less wards, let's say, but also you have the Frost Queen's claim to detect people.
You just need to make your 2 wards count.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Karsa doing? He walks up
to the, in melee range of the turret.
Well, I mean, even worse melee range of a Sona.
Yeah.
Guaranteeing at least a 2-man Sona ult.
Look, unsurprisingly, it looks like they're uncomfortable playing against Sona.
A lot of... I mean... We saw already Jahu being like, I've never played against Aurelion Sol.
Yeah.
Man. Literally any champion could come out in the final.
It's exciting, isn't it? Especially Ryzen Azir.
Okay, here we go. Here's a question, Monty. Excluding Twisted Fate, come up with a champion that's not been played this tournament that might be played in the final.
Cassiopeia.
Okay. Those are the 2 obvious ones, though, because we've been talking about Twisted Fate, Malzahar, and Cassiopeia the whole tournament. What about a CLG champion? Come on.
Jax.
I'd like it. How about a Vladimir tribute game?
No, I don't think
spell vamps removed. I didn't think they'd play Vlad the last time they did, but they did it. Rammus top?
Twitch chat really wants to know what you smell like.
Are we really gonna have a sniff moment? We are.
Mm,
You could have just said blackjack
and beers.
I feel that clip is gonna be taken out of context and used against you.
Great.
By the way, this does tell you about one marketing and business opportunity. A scratch and sniff Monty book.
That's right. It'll smell like leather-bound books, whiskey and cigars. It'll be great.
Usually scratch and sniff is aimed at the under 4s, but you also be R-rated scratch and sniff book.
There you go, guys. Everyone knows now Monty smells like sweat and beer.
Right now.
Right now. I feel unsafe.
So MMD, I'm not sure exactly why MMD's trying to zone right here. It's kind of silly that he has to burn his flash. He shouldn't even. He should be threatening the zone, but not like this. Because one choke point's already controlled by the Sand Soldiers down here, as you can see. And all he has to do is play around this pink ward right now. They don't have vision in there, so he just needs to be in this brush.
And this is the one time they don't have vision, so they actually don't realize that CLG aren't going to contest the dragon. And that's why he thinks that he's holding the minion wave against one person before people come up, and that's why he gets chunked out.
Yeah, and look at this. The flash Varus
really
ultimate does hit stick save, but he still gets the arcade shift off. And they're going to get a nice crescendo, actually 3-man. But they're really far ahead right now. And this is... It looks like a good engage from CLG because MMD already burned his ult and his flash. But they're so strong right now, and that was a very good Varus ultimate. The exhaust is also down, so they can't finish this off. Karsa does have his ult up. And who got the... Oh, 6 actually did.
They didn't need to do that, though, Flash Wolves.
No.
Trading 2 for 3, I think it was really unnecessary.
No, they already got what they wanted, which was the dragon anyway, so who cares?
Because their comp...
It was 2 for 4.
Yeah, okay. 2 for 4 makes it better, but like, their comp isn't programmed to flash Varus ult people. And that's just not what you do. It's not a thing.
And MMD had already disengaged successfully.
Again, they don't know that CLG's not going to try and steal Dragon. That's why MMD's caught out. But
MMD should never have been there. He should have been in the brush and river with the pink.
Sure, if 4 people were like chilling around Baron from the enemy team, you can understand walking up to wave clear. You just get super punished because they don't have wards on the ramp there. At this point, Flash Wolves need to learn Sona ult range. Because it is actually very long, as you can see.
Darkshine does have his ultimate available, and he does have mana. I think he just gets stunned up at the end here by MMD into the wall.
Yeah, but imagine if MMD died in the earlier stages of that fight, which could have been a good trade by CLG, trading 1 for Dragon, but just wasn't meant to be.
And they're playing around the lane pressure better now. And I guess their solution to this is just to all group up in one place, because at least then they can have poke from Azir and have very good 5-man turret siege.
Poke from Azir and
Varus, yeah. However, it's going to be quite difficult if they keep picking the Azir lane or the Echo lane to go into, because he's the only really reliable form of wave clear that they have without burning a Rise or a Ezreal ultimate. And the response here from CLG is really good. They just back off and they start 1-3-1-ing.
It's also very predictable that Flash Wolves has to play this way, and then we're going to see, you know, more teleport flanks from Huhi. And Huhi does love to go Guardian Angel 3rd, and it's great this game when he eventually gets it.
And this is one of those times where Varus just can't walk up. He's in the Echo lane. That's not where he needs to be. Even though Echo is 0-4 and 0, he's actually ahead in CS, and he's not that far behind, all things considered. That was a good play by Maple. But right now they can play around the lack of flash. Sona can't go anywhere, and Sona used the crescendo off screen. Looked like. Where does the crescendo come through? Right there.
So he tries to crescendo, I assume,
Azir. But Azir will flash, actually, as a result, as Xmithie comes around. But then Maple sees the opportunity and just repositions all of his Sand Soldiers. And Sona is super squishy.
That's pretty clutch, though.
That was a good play. It's not like Aphromoot was doing anything terribly dangerous, either.
So one of the issues for Flash was the only way this comp works is if they 4-1 with 4 members on one side of the map and Poppy on the other side. And because Poppy's got Iceborne, Gauntlet, Sunfire, she's basically losing trades to Rise, which will only get exacerbated as Rise gets items.
Poppy will get the Visage eventually, right? But yes.
You still can't stand up to Rise. Like, he has too many bursts of damage and then ult again.
Yeah, very stark contrast here between Darkchild and...
But the Rise is super far behind, remember. Very late Rod of Ages this game. Sarah's Embrace is done, but 7 minutes... It's 3 minutes later than the Rise that we saw from Maple in the last game.
The big issue is he's 3 stacks behind.
3 stacks, yeah.
The Seraph, it seems to be standard now at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Wards as well. It seems like CLG let that fall to the wayside way too much. And kind of relied on
And finally, who he is going to get that turret and push it all up. But there's nobody there. There's just nobody in this split push situation to stop. MMD doesn't have
Poppy on the
TP.
same side. I guess he doesn't have TP.
No TP. They have to protect the Baron.
So they need to make proactive plays on the side of the map with 5, but right now they're just trading farm and losing farm, basically.
And they shouldn't be doing this. They should be pushing in, getting the wards. They already have some wards in. They can sneak a few more in as a result. And there's no wave clear here. You can easily poke these guys out if
this
you
game
group
would be
into
so
the top
different
side.
if it was a tank support, because the problem is Poppy's bringing up the wave top, and no one else feels strong enough to actually put those wards down. Like Braum just going up with his E could put down the sickest wards, but they just don't have them. And this is where CLG is just making more gold from minions than Flash Wolves can get to.
Yeah.
This Baron vision, this River vision, just ever so slightly, it allows people to...
Just simply farming more waves, and they can turtle this out as long as Flash Wolves don't get the deep vision in and don't work as a unit to actually start to siege these turrets, because they should not be, in theory right now, with their lead, they should not be losing these sieges or losing so much pressure on the map. And they can't really collapse on a side lane right here either. Their composition is very slow. I wish they would have taken Sitter if I was Smithy. I'm so mad.
I mean, you can't really say that comp is slow when they have Karma.
It is for making movements to collapse on side lanes when they're literally just walking across the map.
I mean, Karma makes other people fast, though.
But you have to use your shield for that, which is something that you won't have as a... You have to use your mantra for that too, and that's not something you won't have in the gank then.
set up in the last 5 minutes.
CLG are definitely happy to take that trade, and they're actually on the Baron right now.
I don't know about this one, Kobe.
Yeah. I think
I like the attempt from CLG.
I mean, you can definitely start it. It's just they peel off at the right time.
Yeah.
you feel like you need to take
This is actually advantageous, though, for Flash Wolves because they finally got an opportunity to push the mid lane, even though they're already two turrets down right there. And it's not maybe the opportunity that they want, ideally, because they'd rather be top or bottom. However, they finally are able to apply some pressure right here because CLG groups all in one place to try and take this Baron. And they're able to chase him out.
gaming, trying to make Flash Wolves and just trying to dictate where they're going, but Flash Wolves
Our special guest is coming, but it's not who you think it is.
Okay.
It's a different one.
Is it a better one?
It's a more knowledgeable one.
Okay.
Sweet.
I don't know what that means.
Carson gets a bit of it, and they are going to back off with home base set up with the Sun Disc just outside CLG's.
Almost a perfect scenario.
Not alive. Sword Art. She's straight down the mid.
Afro is really the hero of this game. I mean, look at how this setup goes.
Convergence onto Carson. Mid lane with his Seer going, but Flash Wolves.
So the 3 walk up
If you're going to be on the left
to take this turret.
Right.
Parallel convergence comes down. The timing is really good.
Yeah, it's a great engage right there.
And look, double.
The chain stun was disgusting right there.
And it's really hard to pull off if you need
That timing is difficult.
I mean, NL was smart. He flashed away, but Carson and Sword Art got boned.
Yeah, you just have to burn your flash right there, I think, as that crescendo comes in. Because as long as you're burning your flash at the same time before the distortion boots for Sona comes down, you can reliably flash that flash engage.
And at the end of the day, this Sona pick is trading multiple summoners for one.
Yep. Also, that Lamb's Respite.
I mean, that's because Sword Art was Carson was so far forward.
Yeah. So this breaks the entire siege. This was the chance that Flash Wolves had to continue snowballing this game, and the setup from CLG is an excellent defense there.
And just to reiterate, Aframo used both summoners. He traded 2 flashes and an ignite from the side of Flash Wolves. So It's a really good trade, obviously.
Defense holds though for CLG, and they're actually returning to the Baron to clear out the ward. The whole reason
He's gonna try to hit this up.
Oh my.
defense and use the flash crescendo is
Wait, what? Did
Wait.
we just kill somebody?
the whole reason they have
Who he just flashed on top of him right there and just W'd him.
to make that defense.
They were starting the Baron again, but again, they have no vision, so somebody has to check that. NL and Maple are the ones who are there. Remember, Sword Art and Karsa were chunked out, and they had to recall, and these are the guys with the wards. However, NL did have his blue trinket up, so that's even weirder. That's just bad at that point. Because the only information NL needs is, are they doing Baron? And in fact, there are pings going down, danger pings.
I mean, it's in vision.
Yeah, he's in vision, and he walks into the mid lane instead of trying to use his blue trinket over at the Baron.
Really manly play from Hoogie, though.
He does pay for it.
And then
Okay, I don't know why Maple went in there. You're just happy you took out the Rise at that point because they can't do Baron anymore. They need that Rise damage.
This is exactly what CLG want. Getting a little bit scrappy, trading kills back and forth, trying to even it up, but now
The fight's onto Xmitty, back towards the turret. Everybody's in a safe spot here, but Darshan has got himself pretty deep.
Engage
Looks
on
still up.
43s.
Looks to get himself out. No walls to be stunned by this time, so he can get that HP there, but is forced to flash.
Everybody doesn't have ult, so...
True shot barrage is enough to finish down Karsa. 3 still
Oh
down.
man, this is just...
For the Flash Wolf.
Flash Wolf's playing in man-down situations every single time trying to defend this turret. Just let the turret go, you have a huge lead.
also, you realize the further problem of who he has teleport up as well if they keep fighting.
Yeah.
It was two people, NL and Maple, without an ability to get back, and like it was just like a losing play. This is the sort of thing G2 was doing right at the start of the tournament when they had a big lead on people like their jungler and then just choosing to take bad fight after bad fight.
You know you've won at this point. Just poke Aframu once. You don't follow this up. MMD is not in a
Why
position
does
to
he go
do
over
anything.
the wall?
And Stixay just comes in and ease in.
But like,
Exactly. Why does he go over the wall?
let's just talk about that's the first kill. Yeah, that's fine. But let's pause it here.
You don't have vision in that brush, buddy.
You saw the vision cleared and the Baron. They have exclusive vision of that brush, and you get
No way
greedy
you
for
do
the
that.
Aframu support kill.
After you poked him out.
Why?
It was all sticks out.
Look, Maple,
but again, right there we
great
saw
mid laner. Usually
Right,
makes good
huge mistake.
decisions, but
Flash Wolves as Maple's like, oh
the
my
greed for the 036 Sona
And
at the time.
Are you kidding? You can't get away with that. But he chases the Sona to try and answer kills there, and 6A coming right up the lane means that CLG do get one of those steps back into this game.
And that's really scary now because CLG is only 2k gold behind. And their composition is pretty darn strong in the late game.
And the gold lead will only get smaller because with double teleport they guarantee
Yep.
more minions. So they will just get 2 or 3 minions a wave that the enemy will not. Sometimes full waves more.
It was also close to one comboing.
I do like the Frost Queen's claim in conjunction with the Varus. It does make hitting the ultimate and your Qs more reliable if you keep popping that in some of these engagements. But Flash Wolves isn't out of this. Remember, they still have 3 dragons. They only need to pull up another couple, and they're going to be in a good place. Now, I don't know why you'd be setting up death brushes right now. That is just objectively crap with their composition.
Two blue trinkets. This far down.
You're basically banking everything on a chain of corruption right there.
Still no Spirit Visage from MMD, so
He trying to pressure the
does what he
side
can.
lanes. The safety and vision here has
Went for the distortion enchant instead.
Yeah, which is probably fine.
Flash Wolves has been now protecting their wards. They just put more towards that Baron pit. They lose these again. That's how CLG got back last time. Here comes the clear once more. And now Flash Wolves actually are going to have to put themselves in a tight spot to get all this back.
Yeah, this stage of the game is so difficult to play from CLG's perspective because you need to be able to keep up the pressure, but you have to just throw jabs. You can't fully commit to one of these plays. Huhi here needs to keep.
I would argue that it's very difficult for Flash Wolves to play from this perspective. because
Yeah,
the
I think
double
it's
TP
I think
is
it's
really
much
punishing
harder.
as well.
I think it's much harder for Flash Wolves to play from this. Again, because what are their choices? Varus has to be in mid lane. Therefore, Azir has to be in top lane versus the Echo. You will never be farming. You will never be applying pressure in that situation. So,
And in a game where they don't lose any turrets, like they don't lose any of those fights, they don't make silly decisions, NL is relatively safe. But the moment turrets start going down, like flank and wards behind start coming down. There's no safe way for NL to position.
Right, and as to what you were saying, Papa Smithy, when they're able to farm these lanes, look, they had a 2k gold lead just a couple of minutes ago, and we're going to see that basically just dissolve right here. Now it's 700.
Because you're not getting waves of experience.
And they took a turret in the bot lane, the tier 2. But still, this comeback is nearly complete from CLG, and Flash Wolves, because of the compositional choice that they make against CLG's draft, there is no way for them to do this. And I don't know what that graph is, because the gold difference is 700 right now, but it says minus 2k, so that's weird. I was looking at it during this game, I was like,
maybe that's supposed to be 27 minutes? I don't know.
Possibly.
It's just crazy that in this game, like, you can already see it now, there's about 25 minions that CLG have picked up that Flash Wolves haven't. And like, given how far ahead Flash Wolves were in lots of lanes, and that number's only going to grow from CLG, it's the problem. Not convinced by these Azir drafts. Azir's great, but you have to be careful drafting around it.
And when we see SKT play Azir, Azir's always in the mid lane. When we see Faker making picks in the mid and late game, it's with his Azir onto whomever comes into the mid lane, which is typically an AD carry, and if you don't have flash as an AD carry, Azir can 1v1 you.
Sure.
So it's one of the things that how we see Faker and SK Telecom playing it.
I would say the Lucian bans are creating situations like this, because Lucian is a champion that can kind of...
Just pick Sivir!
I'm sorry, but most regions don't play Sivir for some reason.
CLG's more than happy to just engage this. Guardian Angel now up for Huhi. They're ready to go for the...
Where's Rise teleporting to? Okay. That's not that bad a spot.
long haul this fight.
Ulting Sona away. Actually pretty useful.
Yeah.
Is this the one where NL ults nothing? No, that's the next game. No, this is this game.
NL did just ult nothing.
Nah, he didn't have vision in that brush. But
okay,
who
fair.
would it have been? Rise, I guess? Coming
Rise,
through
well, Rise teleported in, so Rise could still be hiding in that brush, actually. Right?
I mean, it looks awful.
Rise TP's in that brush. So for all they know, Rise has flash.
Does he teleport in that brush? Or
Yes,
behind
yes,
that
he
brush?
teleports in that brush.
And then where does he go?
Goes back into the lane. Actually, maybe they can see Rise right now.
Well, they would have seen the ward, I guess. Because the ult looks objectively terrible.
No,
right?
I think... Here's what I think they're worried about. They know that Rise has TP, or has flash up, and if Rise is walking up this way right now, instead of this
Then
way
they're all
into
dead.
lane, then they're going to flash in and kill everybody. So actually, that's a good ult. I think it's a good ult.
Now, Sona couldn't be there to capitalize on the single pick, though.
Okay, but you're going to do a lot of damage in that situation if you're Rise with your ult up, just AoEing everybody in a choke point. And you're going to buy enough time.
I brought stragglers.
Stragglers.
Hello. Oh, hello.
Oh.
Very special guest.
That's who it
Come
is.
on in.
I'm here to translate.
Nice.
Not
Alright,
George.
he gets
Robin.
the middle seat.
He gets the middle seat.
Hi, guys.
You sit in the middle.
Hi, Reapered.
I see the mirror.
Yeah.
The
Reaper
middle
is
seat.
here.
Hi guys.
We are watching Game 3 of CLG Flash Wolves.
That's right.
Did you watch this series?
Nope.
You had other things to do.
Who knows what those things could be, though?
No. Nothing's
don't
been
know.
confirmed. Wait, no, it has been confirmed, actually.
Has it?
Yeah.
Jacob.
He's been announced,
Hold
right?
on, let me
No.
let me go grab
Okay.
let me get a beer.
It has not been confirmed.
I will get you a beer.
It has been heavily suggested.
Mekju.
Mekju.
Beer.
We already had a couple of glasses of shots of soju, so we're decently buzzed.
Well, we're decently buzzed by
Yeah, make to up
sort of League of Legends.
Thank you, sir.
There was soya.
I remember I was the one that got you beer last time, Susie.
Thanks, sir.
Confirmed on stream, I'm not a grill.
Bobs.
Yep. Alright, let me
Karsa's ult there is such shit.
Yeah.
You said that about the
I
last
agree.
one as well.
I agree.
Basically, Karsa's like, free heals. Anybody want some free heals on CLG? Because they have to leave. Maple's chunked out. Free heals. Free heals. Oh my
Ooh.
god.
Ooh. It's so amazing.
Yes, until you realize, Reaper, until you realize.
See, but the problem is that they had a zoning, had what effectively was a zoning Victor ult, and then they had what was, I guess, a zoning Kindred ult. Like,
Okay, so Karsa panics here because Maple
Yes.
gets the blade active on him,
Yeah.
and Maple flashes out. But Karsa right here,
the ult doesn't do anything.
Karsa still has flash. Karsa can just flash out of this instead of ulting.
Why does he need to flash? He can just walk down.
Yeah.
No, he just ults because I guess he thinks Maple's going to take more damage.
So, I don't know. The Kindred ult here is complete crap. And as soon as this Kindred ult goes down,
It's go time.
Aframu is just salivating. Because you'll see he switches, he's got his
Well, look
speed
at the
boost
kiting
on.
as a 4. Because
Yeah.
again, no one plays against Sona.
Yeah, and they have this boosted Sona right now, and as soon as
Boosted Sona.
well, speed boosted.
Sona boosted!
Aframu is definitely not boosted. He is the booster.
That's true. Wait, no, that was a few seasons ago. He got a competitive ruling. It's all fine, Monty.
But
Oh,
Karsa's just fucked. Karsa should have flashed that too. He had vision of the Sona.
what do you think about Sona, Reaper?
Sona?
It sucks.
It sucks.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, but-
okay. All right. Well, this is very interesting. You can explain in Korean. We have
Yeah.
Robin here to translate for you. Why does
That's
Sona
right.
suck?
Robin, not George.
We didn't see Sona for a long time. We all said Sona sucks, but we're seeing it now. Like,
예, 소나 플레이 같은 경우는 예측하기도 너무 쉽고
Sona is super binary and super easy to predict what kind of play she'll make.
그리고 라인전이 세다는 강점인데 유지력 면에서 강점이 있는 거거든. 근데 사실 바루스가 이즈리얼 저격으로 나온 거란 말이야. 바루스랑 카르마 같은 경우에는 라인전에서 짤짤이를 안 당하고 오히려 이길 수가 있단 말이야. 푸시만 하면서.
So Sona's strength in laning phase is her strong poke and her sustain. And Varus came here in order to counter Ezreal, and Varus can snipe down Ezreal without being poked out of range with Karma.
sure.
그래서 그냥
he can hide behind the minion line,
미니언 뒤에 숨으면 돼.
and Ezreal can't because he still gets hit by the Q.
이즈리얼은 못 숨으니까.
그래서 그냥 하면 이기는 거고 한타에 가서도 전멸 크레센도밖에 없는 애라서 너무 쉽단
So
말이야.
this is a laning phase that you just play out and you just dumpster. And even in team fights, all you do is just be wary of the flash crescendo. That's literally all you have to
That's
do.
what we said.
That's what he's saying too.
And especially with, if we look at CLG's team composition, they have to have flash crescendo to engage.
That's not
특히
true.
CLG
I mean,
보면은 플래시 크레센도 말고는 그 뭐지 이니시가 없어서.
없잖아.
unless they get a sick Rise W, right? Like if
Rise
Rise W,
You
is
don't
there-
bank your team comp on that.
Agreed, but they have double teleport
별로 좋은
and
뉴스가 아닌 것
flash,
같아.
so they have options at least.
그리고 되게 위험한 게 어설프게 들어가면은 바루스 궁이랑 아지르 궁이랑 막혀가지고 진짜 그냥 한타 조질 수도 있고 어설프게 라이즈가 전멸 쏘고
Another
들어가면
thing is like if something like Rise, like he can easily fucked by Varus ult or
Sure.
Azir ult, so it's not reliable.
And that's why we
at
said,
all.
because in this comp, like Poppy, Azir, and Varus are all great counter initiate. So,
But
I
they
mean,
could have picked Sivir.
they could have picked Sivir, but they picked Varus, which was interesting.
근데 바루스가 솔로 랭크에서 이즈리얼 카운터로 종종 나오긴 해.
Varus does appear in solo queue as an Ezreal counter once in a while.
내가 이즈리얼 플레이할 때 바루스 만나면 진짜 짜증나.
예.
하기 싫어.
When I pick Ezreal and they pick Varus, I want to open mid. That's how I feel. Not that he does. That's how he feels.
Well, let's play this fight
donation.
out, Monty, because
All right.
Ping pong.
decimation.
We're gonna call you Budget George. How about that?
He really will not like.
Budget. George is budget Robin.
Oh.
Fuck you.
I mean, at this point, it's just over.
사실 킨드레드 궁 빠지고 그 궁 벗어나서 존 자체가 벗어났을 때는 아예 한타가 의미가 없었어. 끝나는 한타야.
누가 벗었을 때?
그러니까 킨드레드가 먼저 쫄궁 쓰고 그 다음부터는 그냥 아예 의미가 없다고 한타가.
Once Kindred uses a solo ultimate, then the team fight is basically
Yeah,
over.
we knew that.
Yeah, we
That's
knew
true.
that.
얘네가 한국 때니까 그거야.
왜 저랬을까?
Why do
Why
you
they do
think?
this?
Well, the Kindred ult was panic. It was just scared. That's the only reason. But remember, Varus used the ult because he thought Rise was going to come out of a brush. It looked terrible, but in hindsight you can understand it. But then Kindred just party ults, like bubbling
라이즈가
style.
튀어나올 줄 알고 바루스가 궁 썼고 그다음에 킨드레드가 튀어나와서 맞아가지고 궁 썼고.
Kindred loves bubbling. That's why. Bubbling style.
Bubble
Yeah.
time.
Bubble time.
Bubble time.
Bubble time.
Bubble pop.
No, bubble
Not
time.
a bubble time.
When bubbling randomly dies.
Also,
No IPL
CLG
reference.
played this out really well
To
by
get
taking,
everything?
to taking the dragon, and because they had done such a good job of prepping Vision previously, they get both objectives, which is crazy.
기절을 너무 잘 따라놔가지고 오브젝트 2개나 한꺼번에 가지고 실제가 굉장히 잘했다.
So he goes in.
Let us see again.
So like Maple gets turned on and Blade of the Ruin King. So he, I guess Karsa gets scared. I don't
never use
understand.
They were half health. Why
I don't
are you
know.
scared?
These shit.
저게 그
This is
메이플 전멸 쓰기 전에 궁을 생각했던 거야 내가 볼 때.
무슨 누구고? 킨드레드 공?
메이플이 쳐 맞았잖아 방금. 메이플이 전멸 쓰기 전에 킨드가 궁을 생각하고 있었어.
Kindred was thinking about using the ultimate like before Maple started to
Yes.
flash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
clearly.
was spooked.
Clearly.
He was definitely scared.
He also didn't even get one auto attack off in that fight.
Not the same disengage.
평타 한 대도 못 맞게 됐어.
Yeah, 0 damage.
Ezreal would have
Zero.
done NL's hands there after he got over the wall. Instead of the Varus this time. That takeaway
이 경기에서
pretty big.
Look at the composition.
This is a sad game because at the start Flash was super far ahead.
Same.
Comp, there has to be war of attrition, make a crucial pickup and a copy flank. This comp
Alright.
is not built for Maple to
I'm gonna take a picture. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
Picture. No, get in. 1, 2, 3.
That's supposed to be the one.
Cute. Thank you.
No problem.
It's just testament to
Let's just ignore Robin.
Yes, I make Robin work after midnight. Shut up, guys.
Unsafe work environment.
Hostile.
That's different. That's a fine line.
와, 난 CLG가 결승 갈 줄은 진짜 몰랐어.
He did not even imagine CLG would make the finals.
No, nobody
But
did.
they played really good.
you get a little wary.
Crazily.
Forced reactionary play.
Also, what are you gonna do at this point against CLG?
Double TP.
Yeah, you're just gonna get wrecked.
Haymaker land, and they are taking every
Against double CG, I love all of Kobe's boxing analogies in this particular cast. Gotta just jab, you know, you can't go for the commitment. They got the haymaker to land. Yeah. I love this kind of analogy. It's great.
Kobe's great.
Kobe's great casting CLG, especially.
Side of Flash Wolves after being pushed onto their home court for the majority of the game. Darshan finding trouble here, but pressure from CLG in the top.
Here
lane.
comes the right hook.
Resources here. A turret has gone down now in favor of CLG.
It was rope-a-dope all along. It was rope-a-dope while they took them. No, they didn't take any turrets. Never mind.
Wisely step away.
They roped
This
themselves.
is the problem with one day on. It's incredibly hard to execute because you need to play
내가 경기를 안 봐서 모르는데
I don't know exactly because I didn't watch the match, but
not overextended the battle.
이 뒤에도 뭔가 플래시 로브즈가 오래 버텼나?
did Flash Wolves kind of stall this game up or
No,
Here,
Flash
Flash
had
never had any pressure
압박이 주도권이 한 번도 없었고
because they couldn't. They had to keep Azir and Varus together, and they could only farm 2 lanes against double TP.
Because big problem is Azir no teleport, and then Varus must be mid. So
어허,
big,
야야야.
big problem against 2 TP. So they tried, and they were winning very hard early game, but then mid game problem.
Avoiding the poke that pushed them back into their base. Now they get to deliver a bit of their own, and as soon as they catch one, that means Flash.
So because CLG still, even though they died, they still have the double TP up.
Yeah.
It's still big problems.
오.
So
우.
Repeat analysis.
ooh ah. Karsa jumps forward. They have this brush. Look at this. Okay, so they have this brush pink warded
This
right
brush
now.
is like that.
Karsa's coming in like this, and Stixay is here to apply massive burst damage, and Graves is also here to apply massive burst damage. So as we see this team fight, basically it's like free crescendo time.
Because Karst is like, I'm gonna pick off this jungler. He's alone like an idiot.
Also, please note, there is no vision in this river. They literally have no idea where Stixay and Afro Mu are. They don't know at all. MMD isn't even here. There's the TP. So Afro Mu's just. And again, Karsa is not. He's just gonna die before he can ult.
이거는 칼사가 못했다기보다는 CLG가 잘했다.
rather than saying Karsa played this bad, I think CJ played it well. Is what he said. CLG. CJ.
They did do well with the vision, but
비전으로는 잘하긴 했는데
they did look.
Karsa didn't need to go
Okay.
aggressive. He didn't have enough information.
He didn't have any. Look at this. Okay. No wards. No wards. No wards. No wards. No wards. No vision. you can't walk next to this brush. You can't jump forward on your Kindred.
It's Karsa, because like, why does he go?
Right
why
here.
does he try to kill? I don't understand.
그냥 지고 있으니까.
Because you're losing, you're trying to make a play. Desperate.
아주 간단한 설명은 그렇고.
I mean-
That's a really simplistic solution.
Sure.
Explanation.
사실 그리고 뭐 정확히 분석을 하자면 오른쪽에 비전이 있으니까 핑크와드가 있잖아. 오른쪽으로 붙어서 뭔가 플레이를 만들고 하면 더 좋았겠지. 근데 저 상황에서 칼사가 이전에 뭐 틸트 얼티도 썼잖아. 그러니까 뭐 그냥 멘붕 상태였던 것 같아.
To analyze like a little more closely, they had vision over here on the right side. So maybe if he stuck to that side, it would have been better if he tried to make it play there. But Karsa was clearly tilted already.
Membo.
And boom.
Memboom.
멘붕.
Earlier in the game, Darshan was getting a taste of the stun lock when he was trying to use his life.
Flash Wolves played really good for 20 minutes and then didn't know what to do with the Varus Azir situation.
Re-engage potential of that crescendo is definitely there. Flash Wolves desperately trying to force these
너무
fights
어떻게 할수
to
없는
be
것 같은데?
going. They simply can't withstand this late game pressure for Catalogic Gaming.
The spike couldn't have happened at a better time. CLG knew they could continue to take hold, strangle down on Flash Wolves' composition.
제 이름이 뭐야?
Even though Flash Wolves was up 3 kills in the beginning, they had everything they wanted, and it seemed to fizzle out when CLG just stepped back and assessed the game.
Alright, so let's hey, we've already seen this at this point, so it's not gonna be that big of a deal. Flash Wolves, what was that gold league graph? Where'd it go?
They're losing quite a bit of gold now, 6,500 to CLG.
Yeah. And because this could have been 5th Dragon theoretically for Flash Wolves, but CLG made that good split play.
Darshan is going for the push right now. They just wanted to delay, maybe go for a
Alright, so also steals it with the...
As he's getting ulted away by Poppy.
That was actually really cool.
Let's see when the Poppy ult comes through.
He also used his ult during that and his smite.
So he smokes one choke, walks up, Qs. He flies away, watch.
Smite ult. And then,
Smite ult, and then Poppy. He's like, alright, see you guys.
thanks for the free disengage.
Meanwhile,
사실 저 바루스 같은 애들이 되게 좋아하는 게처럼 드래곤 대치나 바론 대치를 되게 좋아하거든. 저기서는 궁극기가 다 맞을 수밖에 없어가지고 그래서 난 저기서 그냥 과감하게 한타를 열고 지든 어떻게 되든 그냥 저기서 승부를 보는 게 맞지 않았을까?
Since Varus is really good in 5v5s and dragons and barons because you just dance around and he can land his ultimate really easily because
Sure.
they're like 5 people, wouldn't it be better for Flash Wolf to just like just go all in and try to engage that fight?
지더라도 그냥
Wouldn't- even if they lose, that probably would have been their best
what does an
chance.
all-in look like? Because Azir doesn't have Zonias, like...
우리는 할 수 있어. 우리는 어떤 모습일까? 존야도 없고.
뭐 그냥 해보는 거지.
Yeah, you just kind of.
You just press all the flashes.
아니,
and
왜냐면
hope for the
roll
best?
the dice.
왜냐면 저기보다 더 나은 싸울 수 있는 장소가 없거든.
There's no better place to fight for Flash Wolves than at the Dragon Pit.
That's also true. Especially, again, we were talking about this earlier as to for the Flash Wolves win conditions. They were supposed to stack the dragon because as long as they can kite really effectively, but they needed to take a more... They needed to be further forward on the dragon to force CLG to fight them. They were playing, like, really far back.
좀 더 과감하게 앞으로 나가 있고 비전이 있어야지 그런 플레이를 할 수 있는데 너무 뒤로 말려 있어서 그런 플레이하기 힘들었다.
But they just gave the free smite chance to Xmithy. He should never have been close enough to do that without getting seriously punished.
수비들을 가까이 하지.
It's good TP.
Takes away the 50-50. Lamb's respite goes down. They're now on the bed now. It's cleansed out. And now Flash Wolves is trying to get out of this fight. MMD tries to get away. Collateral damage picks him up as Counterlogic Gaming is just slowly choosing their next target with precision. And now it's going to be on the Sword Art. Nothing's going to save him here from Darshan. Or at least he's not going to get...
I mean, this is just over at this
Yep.
point, so...
끝났네.
지는 팀에서 카르마가 되게 하는 게 없어 보인다.
It seems like Karma literally does nothing.
It just, she's pretty useless, yeah.
이기는 팀에선 되게 하는 거 많아
But
보이던데.
it's, but on the other hand, when the team is winning, Karma does like fucking everything.
back into the lead.
poise for CLG.
Rip.
Rip.
Rip. Rest in peace.
GG.
Over and over again.
So I guess we are going to stay up and do game number 4 because Reaver just came over.
Yay.
첫 게임 같이
I was
할래?
going to be really tired
How's that
tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do one more game.
We need some time. Barry wants text to speech, by the way.
All right, and I'm gonna take a little break here because I need to ask Reaper some questions about what we can and can't talk to him about on this stream. So if you guys have questions for Reaper, we'll know what he can and can't answer. But it's very exciting that we have Reaper here today because he was one of the coaches for EDG at the last MSI, which EDG won. So if you guys have questions about EDG at last MSI.
And he told me that he was the one that came up with the Morgana counterpick.
So we can talk to Reaper about that. He's
Also,
smart guy.
The famous
can you,
one.
actually, some of the people on Twitch chat, being that they are slaves and plebs, don't know who Reaper is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, the
I know.
heresy.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I know where Monty thinks those people should go.
Yeah.
They should just not watch the stream at all.
Fuck off.
Jesus.
So, if you could do like a short introduction of who this young gentleman is.
So Reaper is you. Yeah. So Reaper is a former professional player. He started out on Blaze way back in the day, and he won a season, the first season of Champions.
Yep.
As a top laner, his ID was Phantasy Star. First time I met Reaper was in New York City in 2012.
Where?
Yeah, when CJ, or at the time, Azubu Blaze was the first ever Korean team to come to America to play League of Legends. And they played at the MLG Studios, and they won the tournament.
한판 지고.
No, they only lost one game.
Yep, they only lost one game.
That was like Captain Jack and Lustboy playing
Captain
Graves
Jack.
Lulu, right?
Yep, it was Graves
Push,
Lulu.
push, push.
Ambition.
It was Ambition and Helios, and Reaper was in the top lane. And then he got kicked off of Azubu Blaze, and he got replaced by Flame. So he started his own team
Eat, sleep,
called
game.
Eat Sleep Game, and this team was SK Telecom's first team, actually. So before, he was the first SKT player before they made the other SKT teams, and they went to a tournament called IEM Cologne.
I casted the qualifiers for that tournament. You were Eat, Sleep, Game for the qualifier. I think they were SKT by the time they got there. I'm not
Yes,
100%.
yeah, they were SKT there.
But they were in the qualifiers. They were Eat, Sleep, Game.
Yeah, so then they became the first team, the first version of SK Telecom, and they went to Cologne, and Reaper played with some really shit players.
Reaper, what do you think about Mightily?
Mightily. It's good.
It's
He's good person.
He's a good
person.
Okay.
He's a good
That's
person.
very different. That's
So
very
Mike,
different.
so there was this tournament called IEM Cologne. Now, Reaper won IEM Cologne. SK Telecom won IEM Cologne, which was amazing. But if you guys go back to that tournament and watch Reaper play, you will be astonished that somebody can carry a game that hard, because he literally is entire. It was Horo and him.
Oh, yeah.
Raven.
Horo and him.
Raven.
And
Starlast.
Raven and Starlast was a duo. Like,
Raven Starlast, alright. At the time, they were okay.
they could play Twitch Thresh.
I mean, Mightily was like...
Mightily was a dumpster fire.
Mightily was a solo kill. Peke.
Did he solo kill Peke in this tournament?
Expect solo kill 했냐고.
Oh.
Yeah.
One time.
I also saw him play TF and like teleport with 20 HP.
I remember...
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember the strategy I remember from SKT was Mightily 1v2 TF.
Yeah.
You would send him in the bot lane 1v2 as Twisted Fate. That is your strategy.
So anyway, if you go back and watch this, he played like Evelyn and Olaf a lot in this tournament, and he just ridiculously hard carried this tournament, and they won. So he won that tournament. And then SKT kept Horo and kicked all of you guys off. And then you went back to Eat Sleep Game, and then you became the first version of Jin Air,
Oh yeah.
the first Jin Air team. So then he decided he didn't want to play top anymore, so he decided to play mid. And then he decided he didn't want to play mid anymore. He decided to play jungle.
Jungle, yeah.
And then he played jungle Gangplank, and everybody was sad.
원래가 그 내가 SKT 나오고 은퇴를 하려고 했었어. 원래는.
He originally was thinking of retiring after coming off of SK Telecom.
근데 그때 왜 지네어를
The
갔냐면은
reason I wanted Janair is
스타라스트랑 레이븐이랑 걔네 둘이서 팀을 못 구해.
누구랑 레이븐?
스타라스트랑 레이븐.
어,
예, 바텀 듀오가 팀을 못 구하는 거야. 그래서 내가 같이 가면 팀을 구할 수가 있대. 그래서 그 지네어에서 한 시즌 하기로 하고 거기서 한 거야.
Starstar and Raven couldn't find a team, and they said if Reaper joins, we'll join. So that's why he decided to join Janair
Okay.
under
But
conditions.
but also the first version of